Hey everyone, welcome to part three of our little mini series here. I'm Evan McCown. I am the leader of the Raise Campus Ambassador Program, and I'm here today with my mom, Carol McCown, the CEO and founder of Raise Global Services. And we are in the middle of this four-part series to introduce the concepts of Raise and to get people with Raise more engaged and to have people outside of Raise kind of understand where Raise's head is at. So we're in the middle of this mini short series, and we're going to start with question number 3, which is, of the technologies that Raise has to offer, which one most intrigues you and why?
That's probably the hardest question that you can ask.
It's like picking a favorite child, huh?
Yeah, it is picking a favorite child. Let me do just like an overview of kind of the things that we've been working on recently, and then I'll narrow down on the answer to that question about what intrigues me the most. During COVID, we started working on non-toxic type disinfectants for use at schools and around people. And I didn't know anything about this until COVID came about. And I'm always kind of a researcher of things and want to know, what's going to be best, what's the best in class technology for what it is that we're trying to do. And I discovered a technology called hypochlorous acid, which is HOCl, a very unsexy name. But I've since studied that what this can do for health around the world is incredible. And we can make it in our own homes, right? And we should never be putting toxic chemicals in and around our children. But this thing works for all kinds of things. And so that's one area, health. I'm so excited about that. Then when I think about water, I've found all kinds of water purification technologies that even out of our own faucets in our house, we may be drinking lead, we may be drinking bacteria that we don't even know that's in there because the water rules that the EPA had set up many years ago are obsolete. Now they're medicines coming through our water. And so there's technology that fixes that. I want to introduce that to people. But the absolute most favorite thing that I'm working on right now and that Raise is becoming more and more ingrained in is the idea that we can take waste of any kind, and out of the waste, we can create hydrogen or biofuels or electricity or pure water. And it doesn't matter if it's, your municipal waste, all the trash that we're throwing into our landfills, or industrial waste that's toxic from, say, the coal or oil and gas industry, or old tires that are being stacked up, or the medical waste that comes from hospitals. All of that is going out and being buried in fields across the world. And it's just making our land and our water streams more and more and more toxic. Well, what I have found out is that somebody's trash can become somebody's treasure. And we have been working with innovators out of Florida, innovators out of South Africa, actually innovators from all over the world, who can take all of these waste streams and create all the electricity that we need, all of the fresh water that we need, all of the biofuels that we need for shipping and things like that, and not continue polluting by, putting our trash and just throwing it out there, for number one, but also it solves the problem of electricity. And the amount of land that it takes to build our plants is so much less than scattering our beautiful countrysides with solar panels, or these massive wind turbines that are all over being put up all over the globe. The wonderful thing about creating power, electricity, biofuels out of trash is that we are having a stream of input that is working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and fixing another problem while we're doing it. So to me, I'm passionate about that. It's game changing. It's world changing. You know, the United States has been shipping our plastic to China and thinking they're going to fix that problem. We all walk around so arrogant about what we do in the United States while we're polluting everywhere else. And if we had just known that we could have made those plastics into a biofuel that could be used in the shipping industry, then it will offset the amount of carbon that the shipping industry is using. And it makes us not only what, quote unquote, check the box for what our political leaders are telling us we need to do, but it's solving a problem all the way across the board. I'm really excited about this technology. What we need to do here in the United States and around the world is get rid of the regulations that stop innovation from happening. It just will make you sick because I'll give you a great example. We're working on a project right now to bring a solution for creating a clean coal solution for the region in the Appalachian region in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, in that area. Right now, they're getting hit really hard. I mean, that's a very poverty-stricken area of our country, and the opioid crisis there is insane. And it's because people are hurting. And so we have politicians up in Washington just go, okay, we're going to shut down every coal-fired power plant in the country. And so, screw this area of the country where they need that for their income, not caring about those people at all. They'll just make a swipe of a pen and they're going to knock out a whole community's livelihood for decades. Their family also, all they know is that business. And I think to myself, you know what? Yeah, coal-fired power plants they're really not practical. They're emitting a lot of carbon into the air. They're polluting our land by fly ash and all of that. But what's interesting is that there is technology that we're going to be bringing to the table for coal that will utilize that asset that we have in that region of the country, give back jobs, that has zero emissions, zero toxicity, and all of that. One of the components of that is that we have to capture the carbon, the CO2 that's coming out of that. And we have the ability to do that, capture the carbon, and then convert it to a carbon that would be used in the beverage industry, or be used in making dry ice and some different things like that. Our roadblock are regulations. Old regulations that have been in place, and then getting to the right people politically and so forth. Making change, if it's not one of the big corporations who are paying off our 3-letter agencies, it's almost impossible to happen because you can't even get a foot in the door there. My hope is by having conversations like this with you allows us to be heard, allows us to be seen, so that people will say, you know what, Carol, we know these people. We're going to help you get that accomplished when you try to make that happen. Now, how does the RAISE model work within that scenario? Not only are we going to bring these technologies to the table in a state like West Virginia to create hydrogen, which is the next fuel coming out. So then instead of being a coal producer, West Virginia is a hydrogen producer. And that is the next clean fuel that's coming out for automobiles and for making power generation. But also we can create a profitable venture that allows people in West Virginia to grow and for their economy to grow. But with our profits, we're going to open up a center to help people with opioid addiction. That is the RAISE model. That is a circular economy. And that makes sense for all of humankind. Nobody can say no. I don't care if you're on the right or the left. You can talk bad about us all you want to. We don't care because we know we're doing the right thing. And we're hoping that the people will come and embrace us, because if the people are behind us, then it's going to happen. I don't care where you stand politically, but
I'd have
that
to agree.
makes my heart sing.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you that, the trash to treasure technologies are really the most amazing thing that we have to offer. And I'll take it back to 2011 real quick. Just when you started off, you were just solely focused on energy efficiency things. And then, as times kind of changed, your shift focused towards, the trash to treasure technologies. And then when COVID hit, your focus switched toward the health and safety side of things. So do you mind talking a little bit about how you've been able to adapt Raise around what's going on in the world today?
I'm going to get a little bit spiritual here. Before Raise was given to me in a vision, I prayed that God would break my heart for what breaks his heart. And every day when I wake up, I'm like, God, what's your heart telling me to do today? Well, how do I behave that best represents you? And I want you to show me how you would move in the next day or in the next plan. And really, Evan, that's exactly how I've worked. I don't, people have said, well, what are your goals? Well, I don't get to set the goals. I'm just a vessel. He sets the goals, and they're lofty and they're big and they're so much bigger than me. But when I wake up, I know that he's going to open a door, or he's going to introduce me to a new technology, or he's going to give me a heart of empathy where I think about things. He also has given me a thirst for learning. So when COVID hit and I was sitting here by myself, I was washing my hands all the time, like everybody was. I pulled out this antimicrobial thing underneath my sink, and I was washing my hands like crazy. And every day my chest felt like it was getting more and more stopped up. And I thought, I've got COVID, I've got it. I hadn't been around a soul. And then I went and got tested and I didn't have COVID. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what's wrong with me? Something is wrong with me. What am I doing differently? And it was washing my hands all day, every day. So I went and I pulled out the bottle of the stuff I'd pulled out from under the sink. I don't know how old it was. And I started looking at the ingredients, and it had an ingredient on the back called triclosan, Triclosan, I think is what it was. So me, and being me, I go and I Google triclosan, and I realized it had been taken off the market a couple of years ago because it causes, guess what? Asthma. I had asthma for the first time in my life washing my hands with this triclosan. And I started thinking, well, what in the world? I mean, this is an everyday thing that's underneath my house. Wonder what else I'm using around my house that's killing me or killing my kids.
Right.
So I started studying this, and I started realizing that when you start pouring bleach, or you start using these products that these big corporations are putting out there every day, and there's going to be little children around that, and people are spraying it everywhere, it's all over the news, that there's a problem with this. And then that whole little thing in my spirit that says, this breaks the heart of God. Then I started thinking, I need help find the solution. I need to start finding the solutions that meet this need. And in the long run, what I discovered was there are real solutions out there that are being squashed down, that are medical grade, usable. You can put it on your skin. You can keep yourself from getting gingivitis with it. You can clean with it. And I kept thinking, gosh, if we offered this to moms in the first world, can you imagine what we could do with the medical clinics like in West Africa when an Ebola breakout happens? You could spray people, and that Ebola wouldn't go from one person to the other because it's going to kill it within seconds. So these solutions are out there, and we're going to keep bringing them to the table. We're going to keep offering them. This brand, if it comes under this brand, then you're going to know we've done the research behind it. And that's how I do it. I just listen to God, and I go, you know what? This is what we're going to be looking at today. And I study and I study and I research, and I even go back and find all the clinical trials to understand that what we're putting out there is not going to be something that's going to be harmful to anyone. But that's how that happened.
That's great. Well, that's gonna sum up part 3 for us. Tune in for part 4 next time. I appreciate everyone listening in. Thanks, Mom.